Hi, I'm Gerald Kostecka, and today we'll be discussing the 11.5 pH strong Kangen water and how it can be used for cleaning and degreasing, specifically in the kitchen. We'll talk about how this water works, what makes it different, and we'll see how it compares to some of the most popular chemical cleaners available. We started by taking some sesame oil, a dark oil, so it's easier for you to see, and we poured it in each one of these cups. Now, these are some of the most recognizable brands available today, and this test will show how well these different cleaners can cut through grease. Now, the pure sesame oil will represent an oily mess that you might find in your kitchen. But before we start with the cleaners, let's take a look at how tap water breaks down oil. As you can see, the tap water really doesn't do anything. We all know oil and water don't mix. They separate, which is exactly why we typically do not use water to clean up any kind of greasy or oily mess. Now let's take a look at the chemical-based cleaners and see how they do. So we're going to start with this one. It's the all-in-one Orange Oxy. It's one of these more natural cleaners. Let's pour this in here and see what happens. Well, it actually breaks it down a little bit. We're going to move on to the next one. That Orange Oxy is starting to separate, though. Let's take a look at the Windex multi-surface cleaner made with vinegar. Yeah, it's starting to separate pretty quickly, too. Next, we've got Clorox Cleanup, cleaner with bleach. This is one of the strongest chemical cleaners up here. It actually does a pretty good job. Seems like it broke that down pretty well. Now we're going to take a look at an organic cleaner. It's an all-purpose cleaner. Wow, that one separated almost just like the water did. Let's take a look at Lysol with hydrogen peroxide multi-purpose cleaner. Broke it down a little bit, but it is starting to separate as well. This is fantastic heavy-duty all-purpose cleaner with scrubbing bubbles. That broke it down a little bit. Now we've got the 11.5 strong Kangen water. That broke it down completely. So just looking at these, you can see some of these are much more effective, but they're really the ones that are the heaviest with the chemicals. And the ones that don't have as many chemicals really don't do that good of a job. In fact, they barely do better than tap water. As you can see, the 11.5 strong Kangen water effectively broke down the oil, even better than the Clorox Cleanup, which is one of the strongest chemical-based cleaners that we've got here today. While it did a pretty good job, one of the things to remember and keep in mind is that the Clorox Cleanup actually has 2 paragraphs of what you would need to do in the event of exposure to your skin or if this product would be ingested. The Clorox Cleanup did a pretty good job, but it is also probably the most dangerous of these cleaners. And over the past few years, there have been some very interesting studies regarding exposure to chemical cleaners in the house. According to a 15-year study presented at the Toronto Indoor Air Conference, women who work at home have a 54% higher death rate from cancer than those who work away from home. The study concluded that this was as a direct result of the increased exposure to toxic chemicals, many of which are found in household cleaning products. In addition, over 90% of suspected poison exposures occur at home with household cleaning products. In short, the chemical cleaners you have under your kitchen sink, they might be doing great harm to you and your family. These studies make it obvious that people should really think twice when it comes to spending a premium price that is effectively buying poison. Most of us would never think about our household cleaners being dangerous when not in use. But that is exactly what these studies have concluded. That's why I really love the strong Kangen water. This water has allowed me to completely eliminate the need for any of these chemical-based cleaners. So I've been able to remove them from my household, which reduces the amount of daily chemical exposure for me and my family. So, as you can see, the 11.5 pH water can actually clean just as well, if not better, than any of these chemical cleaners, but without the risk of chemical exposure. This is important, especially if you have small children or even pets. The potential danger of using these types of chemicals around small children are pretty obvious, but they can also be dangerous to our furry friends. No matter how hard you try not to, when you use these chemical cleaners, you leave behind chemical residue. If you have pets and you use any of these cleaners to clean up a mess on the floor, and then your dog or cat walks on that floor, chemicals are being left on their paws. And as we all know, animals clean themselves by licking. So if they're licking their paws, they are unknowingly ingesting these chemical cleaners. But you may be doing the exact same thing to you and your family. Imagine you clean your kitchen counters with any of these cleaners, and then an hour later, one of the kids comes home from school, decides to make a sandwich. Since the counters look clean, they're probably not thinking that the counters could pose any type of danger. So they just toss a piece of bread on the counter, make their sandwich. And now those pieces of bread have been exposed to whatever residue was left over. Being able to eliminate the need to utilize these chemical cleaners to keep your kitchen clean and sanitary is extremely important. Now, many people are surprised when they see this demonstration because we've all been taught that oil and water don't mix. I know that's what I thought. That's why for years I used chemical cleaners to clean up my house. And I would have never thought it would have been possible to clean up an oily mess using water. Boy, was I wrong. Now, after I saw the same demonstration that I just showed you, I was impressed, but I wanted to know the why behind the wow. So I looked into the science of what was happening. Here's what I discovered. The first reason is because their molecules are packed differently. The molecules of water are packed very densely. Believe it or not, in one glass of water, there are more water molecules than the number of known stars in the universe. This means if we take what appears as equal parts of water and oil, there will be substantially more molecules of water than the oil. Because they are more densely packed, they sink underneath the oil, which is why oil always floats on top of water. There is one more reason why they cannot mix with each other. It's called polarity. Polarity means a molecule is positively charged at one end and negatively charged at the other end, like the ends of a battery. Water is a polar molecule. Polar molecules only dissolve in polar solvents. Similarly, nonpolar molecules only dissolve in nonpolar solvents. Oil is made up of nonpolar molecules. It has a shell of negatively charged electrons which surround the molecule. When the 11.5 pH water is produced, it is restructured and ends up with a very strong negative charge, making it nonpolar, which allows the water and the oil to mix. Now that the water is able to penetrate the shell of the negatively charged electrons, it is able to interact with the molecules, which emulsifies the oil. Even though now we know exactly what's happening when the water emulsifies the oil, you have to admit, it's still pretty impressive. Seeing this demonstration should make it obvious that the chemical cleaners are not really the best way to go, and that a water-based solution is the best choice for you and your family. I'm going to demonstrate what I consider to be really the biggest difference between these chemical cleaners and the 11.5 pH strong Kangen water. I can't do that with any of those. This water is superior when it comes to cleaning and degreasing, but really what it boils down to is this. Using this option, I don't have to worry about calling poison control or worry about a trip to the emergency room. But I have something that is going to be able to effectively clean and degrease, which ultimately, as a consumer, that's what I'm looking for. I can also keep my family safe at the same time, and that's what I want. With the strong Kangen water, you can eliminate chemical-based cleaners from your household, which can save you money because the 11.5 pH water can be produced for pennies, and you can help ensure the safety and the well-being of you and your family. Remember, the 11.5 strong Kangen water is just one of many waters produced by the Enagic ionizers. Be sure to ask your Enagic distributor to tell you more about all the incredible waters produced by these amazing machines. This brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed our topic and that you found the information useful. Be sure to check out the video library for other helpful hints as you discover the incredible ways that changing your water can change your life. Until next time, be informed, be prepared, and be inspired.